Hey everyone, just a very quick video tonight. This is the 20th of December, which is International Transgender Day of Remembrance. For those of you who don't know, it's a day that that transgender people and their allies remember those who have been killed in the last year. Just because they're transgender and just because they have the courage to be themselves in a world that doesn't understand them and, quite frankly, a lot of the times doesn't want them. So I'm just going to name off a few instances of note in this past year of murders. There have been, according to some sources, there have been over 220 murders worldwide in just this year alone. And that's reported murders that that have been because of the person being transgender. Obviously, there are probably a lot more crimes and deaths that haven't been reported as transphobic in nature, and that number also doesn't include suicides, and it does not. It also doesn't include assault, which where the person lived. If you include those numbers, then that 220 would easily be up in the thousands, if not higher. But the 220 somewhat murders in the last year, that brings, or that means approximately that there's a transphobic murder in the world, somewhere in the world, approximately every 39 hours, which is pretty bad, considering that the transgender population is such a small percentage of the human population on the earth. One death every 39 hours, that's pretty bad. Well, any death at all is bad, but yeah. But what can we do? Before I get into that, let me go over just a few of the cases. You can find more on transgenderdor.org. They have a good list. There's more. There's a more in-depth list elsewhere that has the entire 220 people. But I've just got basically the lowest, the small list here, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to read the ones that have notes attached. There's one. Her name is Ramazan Satan. She was from Turkey, and she had an accident and was seeking treatment at her local hospital. Her brother found out about the accident and went to the hospital and shot her in front of witnesses. And upon leaving the hospital, he calmly said to the police, "I killed my brother as he was a transvestite. I have cleaned my honor." Sadly, in a lot of Middle Eastern countries, that happens a lot. Honor killings, where it's believed by religion that that transgender people bring dishonor, have brought dishonor upon the family by being transgender, and a lot of the times the transgender's family either beat them within an inch of their life, treat them so badly so that they commit suicide, or they're killed outright. There's another one. This one was in Michigan, over in the States, which is really sad. Her name is Shelley Hilliard. She was from Detroit, Michigan. She was only 19 years old, and her body was decapitated and dismembered, then burned. And her mother had to identify her torso at the medical examiner's office. And this wasn't very long ago. This was only the 10th of November of this year, so 10 days ago. Really, really sad. And it was Jessica Rowland. She was from Italy. She was strangled. She was 32 years old, which is only 2 years younger than I am. And her body had been dumped on the side of the road and wasn't discovered for 3 days. And as in often the case, the media tends to be quite transphobic, and the media isn't really helping us transgender people much. But her local news media continues to disrespect her by using male pronouns and the male and her male name instead of her female name, which you get a lot with transgender people. There are more. I'm not going to go through it because it's really depressing and it's really sad. But I really think that there's a lot that can, excuse me, there's a lot that can be done throughout the world in everyone's communities, in everyone's towns, cities, schools, churches. The simplest thing, and families, the simplest thing to do is to preach tolerance and love and acceptance for transgender people. And a lot of the times, I mean, you hear in the news that there's so many youth, so many teenagers who are homeless, who are transgendered, and the reason they're homeless is because they've been disowned by their family. They were disowned by their family when they came out as transgendered, which that's not really, yeah, I mean, a lot of those homes are Christian homes, and I'm not trying to badmouth any religion, but it's not very Christ-like or godly to kick your own kid out of their home just because they're transgender. It's not right. And older transgender people, adults, are also homeless because they can't get a job, because no one will hire a trans woman who doesn't look like a woman or has an Adam's apple, or and no one will hire a trans man because it just makes them uncomfortable, which shouldn't be. That's just lack of education there. And so, I mean, we need to, communities, schools, churches need to teach their students and the churchgoers that being transgender, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It isn't a choice. It isn't something that can be just forgotten. Transgender people can't just say, well, no one will accept me as a man, so I'm going to be a woman from now. I'm going to ignore me being transgender and just be what my biological sex is for the rest of my life. Transgender people cannot do that. I mean, it's the same with people who are gay and lesbian. They can't just say, oh, I'm going to be straight from now on. I don't, it's impossible. It's not a choice. Trust me, if it was a choice, very few people would actually choose to be transgendered. So, yeah, basically just be more loving, be more accepting. If we all went out and stood up for each other and ourselves more often, then transphobia and homophobia would not exist, or it definitely wouldn't be something that you hear about on the news all the time. But anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to let you guys go. I wrote typed up a very quick blog entry about it. It's Myojigon, what is it? Sorry. Yep, myojigon.blogspot.com. I'll leave the link down in the comments below. Um, until later. Next week, you'll see me on Thursday on bigender.net collab channel, and Friday, hopefully, here again. So see you guys later. Bye.